Hello students, in the last video we discussed about the other important physical quantity, that is linear momentum and the Newton's second law of motion. And from that discussion, so far what we got the idea that the first law gives us a qualitative definition of force and the second law gives us the quantitative definition of force. And in the second law, when we are using the second law, there what we got that the force, the applied force or the external force is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum, that is the linear momentum, isn't it? So in that case, what we discussed, if the mass is constant, and obviously in our day to day life in classical concept, or you can say in a macroscopic concept, always we are considering the mass is constant because you are not going for relativistic motion, as relativistic motion is the motion of the body comparable to the velocity of light, and we are not coming across this type of objects. So mass is a constant. So while discussing mass as a constant, I can use that F is equal to ma. I can use this F is equal to ma. And remember one thing, Newton's second law is not F is equal to ma. Newton's second law is the force is proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum. So that we have discussed. In that discussion, actually we got an idea that for mass constant, F is equal to ma. It means if a force is applied on a body, it produces acceleration. What this acceleration means? It changes the velocity. It changes the velocity of the body. But the most important thing that today we will discuss, another physical quantity, or we can say another parameter which is used in our laws of motion, that is our impulse. Here we will discuss about the impulse. So now comes your mind, what is this impulse? Impulse is an impact or effect, or action of a force, action of a force, impact of a force, or effectiveness of a force, that is called impulse, or that force is called impulsive force. That force is called impulsive force. Now take an example. Suppose I take a ball and hit the wall. I hit the wall. So when I hit the wall, the ball, initially I have given some force to the ball to hit the wall, and the force, with that force the ball hit the wall means the ball also exert force to the wall. When the ball exerts a force on the wall, what happens after that? Think that. What happens? After that, the ball rebounds back because the ball has not that much of energy, or you can say it has that much of, not that much, that it can move the, or it can allow the wall to move back. So the ball rebounds back. It means what happens in this case? The velocity of the ball changes. The velocity of the ball changes. With what velocity it hit the wall, it will come with a velocity other than that in opposite direction. The direction changes. That is confirmed. Yes, right. But in this case, the most important thing is here comes our impulse. The effectiveness of the force means what? The impact of the force or the action of the force. In this case, it is not important that the force applied and there is an interaction between the ball and the wall for some time. There is an interaction between the force applied by the ball to the wall, and the wall and the ball has an interaction for some time. It means the effectiveness of, or the impact of the force is producing the motion depends not only upon the magnitude of the force but also for what time the force acts. So there are two parameters comes into play. One is the magnitude of the force, means when you are taking that, my point is that when you are calculating the effectiveness of the force, means you will not only consider the magnitude of the force. I will not consider the magnitude of the force. I will consider for what time the interaction takes place between the two bodies. Because of this interaction, the velocity changes, and if the velocity changes, the mass of the body is constant, the momentum also changes. Mass into velocity is the momentum, isn't it? So on that basis, we can say that this effectiveness of the force in producing the motion depends the magnitude of the force and for what time the force acts on the, or what time the two bodies interact between each other. So on that concept, so we can say that the measure of the effectiveness or the measure of the effectiveness measure of effectiveness, or you can say impact, or you can say the action of a force. The measure of the effectiveness, impact or the action of a force in small intervals of time, because time is also important, in small interval of time is called impulse. Yes, means while finding the impulse of a force, means you are considering the force for what time it acts, the force and the time. That is my point to clarify. That is our impulse. And when we are discussing about this impulse, then when we are discussing about the impulse, in this case we can say that the total effect of the force is called impulse. Total effect of the force. Total effect of the force is called impulse. We can say also. Now, let us consider the impulse. How we will calculate? Let us consider a force F X for some time interval. Let a force F X for some time interval. Then both are important. A force, its magnitude and the time interval. Then impulse, or you can say impulse of the force. The impulse equal to magnitude of the force and for what time interval it acts, that multiplied time interval. That is the impulse. That is the impulse. So according to that, let a force F X for some time interval, for small time interval dt, small time interval, generally I consider this as a dt. Then the impulse they are represented as J with a vector symbol, because it is a vector. J is equal to, or okay, first I will consider the magnitude part. J is equal to magnitude of the force F for what time it takes, time dt. So that is the impulse. J is equal to F multiplied by dt, right? And if I write in vector form, then J impulse is equal to, impulse of the force is equal to the force into dt. So as this is the formula for our impulse, and as we know that in this case the impulse is a vector, means this vector depends on the force. In what direction? So that means this impulse, the direction of the impulse is same as the direction of F. Direction of J is same as that of F, applied force. In what direction the force is applied, that is the direction of the impulse of that force, or simply you can say that as a force. So now if you consider, this is the case, as I have already written, this is a J is equal to F dt or J is equal to F dt. But here, if this impulse is for what? For a small interval of time. So for small intervals of time, can I make this as a dj? For small interval of time, that is dj. For small interval time, this is the small impulse. So if I solve this, or if I make a perfect equation for this impulse, I can write like this. You can say, let a force F x for time interval for small, infinitely small, for small time interval dt, then small impulse force or impulse dj for small time dj is equal to, that is represented as j, small means dj, f dt. Can we write like this? So here the point, my point is here, generally the impulse is calculated if a large force acts for a small time interval, then in that case we are considering the effectiveness, and in that effectiveness or the action or the impact, there we are considering what, for what time that acts. So as in the first example, if you again I will recall, when I throw the ball to the wall, the ball and wall has an interaction for a very, very small interval of time, that is very, very negligible. So that is also we can call as a dt. So in this case, if we consider a finite interval of time, this is for a small interval time. Suppose in this case the time interval is more than the small interval of time, means infinitely small interval time, then in that case what we will do? If we consider a finite interval of time, t1 to t2, finite interval of time t1 to t2, then the impulse is also finite, not a small. So j is equal to, you can say what, integration of dj, as you know, integration of dx x, integration of dj j, that should be equal to integration of f dt from the time interval what, t1 to t2, that should be the limit. If the time interval from 0 to t, so this is the exact formula for the impulse. And if f is constant, or if the force, applied force, f is constant means not time dependent. I apply 5 Newton for 5 minutes, means for that 5 minutes that force is constant, it is not time varying. So if f is constant, not time varying, then I can write j is equal to, the impulse equal to a constant can be taken outside the integration f t1 to t2 dt, or you can write what, f, what is dt, that is t with limits t1 to t2, or I can write f t2 minus t1, or I can write f into delta t. What is delta t? That is t1 to t2. So j is equal to, I can write f into delta t. That already you have got this for a constant force, if F is a constant. Okay, if force is constant means it is constant both in magnitude and also direction. It is constant means it is a vector. It is constant in both magnitude and direction. Clear? So that is one for after. So if F is not a constant, then we use the same formula. That is what? Integration from T1 to T2 F dt. Okay. So this will give you the, so impulse is the product of the force and the time interval for which the force acts on the body. That is my impulse. Okay. So after knowing this impulse, and as I already told that the impulse is a what? Is a vector quantity, and it takes the direction along the direction of the applied force. And in this, the unit of impulse, now we will go for the unit of the impulse in CGS. Let me first write CGS. What is that impulse? Let me write this impulse is equal to F for constant, delta t for what time it takes, for in a time interval delta t. So F is your Newton, delta t is second. So Newton into second. Okay. Or you can write what? In other form you can write what is this Newton? Sorry, in CGS this is dyne, not Newton. Dyne into cm. Or what you know about dyne? What is dyne? Gram cm, right? So gram cm second minus 2 into, right, not cm, dyne into delta t second. So gram cm second minus 2 into second s, or this will give you gram cm second minus 1. That is also the unit. And in SI it is Newton into second, or Newton is what? kg meter second minus 2 into second. So I will write as the second minus 1. And if you find the dimensions, what is the dimensions? Dimensions is what? kg m1 meter L1 d minus 1. This is the dimension of impulse. So all of you got the idea about the impulse. Okay. Now the most important thing, we will go for the impulse momentum theorem. Next we will go for the impulse momentum theorem. So what is this impulse momentum theorem? Impulse momentum theorem. So as I already told that in the example, in the same example, when the ball hit the wall with some force, because of that force x for some time interval, it changes what? The velocity of the ball. If the velocity of the ball changes, as the mass is constant and the velocity of the ball changes, then what it changes actually? The motion contained in the body. The motion contained in the body is called momentum. So the momentum of the body changes. And now we will relate that. So impulse is measured by the total change in momentum. Impulse is measured by the total change in momentum, obviously linear momentum. Total change in momentum. Why this momentum changes? Why this momentum changes? That the force x, that the force x or the force produced in a given time, right? Total change in momentum, that the force produces in a given time. That is the theorem. Impulse is measured by the total change in momentum. Impulse gives what? Change in momentum. We will show that one. Why this change in momentum? That the force produces, because according to the second law, the change in momentum takes place when we apply a force. So the force produces in a given time. So how will prove? According to Newton's second law, according to Newton's second law, what is this F? F is equal to rate of change of momentum dp by dt. Clear? F is equal to dp by dt, where p is the momentum of the body at any time t and F is the applied force at that time, where p is the momentum of the body at any time at time t due to the force what? F, this F force, due to the force F at the same instant. So from here you can say dp is equal to F dt. Can you write? From here dp is equal to F dt. Then let the momentum changes, because of the force the momentum changes, let momentum changes from T1 or Pi initial to Pf final. Momentum changes from Pi to Pf in time. It will take time. In time T1, in time interval, let me write, in time interval T1 to T2. What it means? At T1, the momentum of the ball or the object is Pi. At time T2, the momentum is Pf. So T1 to T2, the momentum how much changes? Pf minus Pi. So that I have considered. Then this is a source the df dp. Then let me find the total change in momentum in the time interval T1 to T2. So to get the total change in momentum in time interval T1 to T2, then what I will do? So integrating both sides, integrating both sides. What I will get? Integration of dp, yes, and momentum changes, let me, this is the vectors pi and pf. So accordingly, initially pi limit pf is equal to f dt with limits t1 to t2 at pi time t1, pf time t2. Clear? With this, now you go to the equation. Now do the integration. Already you are acquainted with the integration. So now we go for the integration thing. So this dp, obviously this dp give me p with limits what? Pi to the pf is equal to, and here let me consider the applied force is constant. So if it is constant, f is constant, means constant in both magnitude and direction. F integration of dt from time t1 to t2. F is constant. F is a constant in this case. So if that is the case, then put the limits pf minus pi is equal to f. Integration of dt is t with limits t1 to t2. So again I will solve f t2 minus t1. So what is this t2 minus t1? Time interval delta t. Let me take that as f delta t is equal to pf minus pi. So this with vector symbols, okay? I forget to put that vectors. So this is p vectors, pf pi, and f is obviously vector. So f pf minus pi. Okay? So this is the vector. And this f delta t, what is this one? This is the impulse, or f delta t is the impulse or impulse of the force or action of the force or effectiveness of the force for the interval of time delta t. So J is equal to, then the equals J is equal to pf minus pi. So now a question arises in your mind that if this force is not constant, if the force is not constant, Then you can say directly f dt from time to t1 to t2, then also you can say this is also j, the impulse. Then this j is equal to also what? Pf minus Pi. So now we got the statement. What the statement? The impulse of a force is the change in momentum, Pf minus Pi. Okay. So this is the impulse for a time. Then this is equal to Pf minus Pi. So again I am repeating, the impulse is the impulse of a constant force is equal to the change of momentum, because the force is a constant. So the impulse of a constant force, let me write the statement, impulse of the constant force is change in momentum. Change in momentum, obviously that is their linear momentum, Pf minus Pi. Pi is the initial momentum, Pf is the final momentum. If the body, so in this case I can put also, suppose the mass of the body m having a velocity initially u, after impulsive force let the same body of mass m changes the velocity v. So what is Pf? That is your mv. What is Pi? mu. So mv minus mu, that is your Pf minus Pi. That is the case, that is the impulse. So this impulse gives you the change in momentum. So impulse is the force into time, or also it is the change in momentum of the body. Clear? So now in the case of the positive impulse, when we can say that the impulse is positive. When this is positive means Pf greater than Pi, though the final momentum should be greater than the initial momentum. Final momentum is what? mv. Initial momentum is mu. So mv greater than mu means what? v should be greater than u. Final velocity should be greater than the initial velocity. Then the impulse is positive. When the impulse is 0, when the impulse is 0, when v is equal to u, there is no change in the velocity, there is no change in the momentum, final momentum is equal to initial momentum, then the impulse is 0. Because it is a vector, it can be positive, negative or 0. When the impulse is negative, then the final momentum is less than the initial momentum, because means the force applied for the small time interval, and instead the final velocity decreases compared to the initial velocity. Then mv or Pf is less than Pi. In that case, magnitudes for Pf is less than Pi, magnitude, final momentum is less than initial momentum, then the impulse is negative. Is that clear? So in the negative impulse, the momentum decreases. The momentum decreases. Okay. So this is also a question about your impulse momentum theorem. This is a 2 or 3 mark question. Write the impulse momentum theorem. Okay. So far we got the idea that to calculate the impulse, what we can say, the impulse can be calculated by considering the product of the force for constant force, the multiplication of force, or sometimes this force is also called average force. For a small time interval, the force is a constant. In that small interval, how the force x for what time interval, that will give you the impulse, or the magnitude of the force multiplied by the time, that will give you the impulse of that force. And this can also be, according to impulse momentum theorem, this impulse is the change in momentum, not rate of change in momentum. Rate of change of momentum is a force according to Newton's second law. It is only the change in momentum. Then next we will go for the graphical method for measurement of impulse. Graphical method for measurement of impulse. How graphically use to find the impulse? So here I will consider 2 cases. What are the 2 cases? One, force is constant. In other one, the force is not constant. Not constant means with respect to time, the magnitude of the force changes. At this instant, I am applying 5 Newton. then after 1 second I am applying 3 Newton, then after 1 second I am applying 90 Newton, then after 1 second I am applying 30 Newton, like that. The force is changing. I will consider 2 cases. So when a constant force X on a body, first, when a constant force X on a body, when a constant force X on a body, first case. So when a constant force X on a body means the force is constant both in magnitude and direction with respect to time for a small time interval. Okay. So which neither changes in magnitude or nor changes in direction. So if you plot the force versus time graph, let me take the time axis and this is the force, right? With respect to time, when the time passes, the force is not changing. Suppose I start from the point 0, at 0. Let the force have some magnitude F, some 5 Newton, 7 Newton, 10 Newton. With time passes, the force is constant, it is not changing in magnitude and also direction, neither magnitude nor direction. So it is parallel to time axis. So in that case, if I will ask you, what is the, so this is time, suppose T1, 0 to T1. So up to this I have measured and this force is a parallel line because it is a constant force. So in this case, let me put the names also A, B, C. So BC should be parallel to OA, to the time axis, because the force is constant. So how will measure impulse from this graph? Now you say, what is the area of this portion or the graph below this? Area of OBCA is equal to OB into OA. Suppose this OB, let this is your F1. This value is F1. At B, OB is F1. And this F1 is constant for the time 0 to T1. Then what you will put here? Then this is equal to OB, that is your F1, and OA, because all are OB is equal to AC, rectangle, and OA T1, 0 to T1. So this is, you can say T1 minus 0 or T1. So this F1 T1, what it gives you? This is the impulse. This is the impulse. So impulse force into time. For what time interval? From 0 to T1. Or you can say this is also delta T. Suppose in this case, if I consider this is T1 and this is T2. So between this time interval, what is the impulse X on the body? The impulse is, this is the force and this is the time. T2 minus T1. So how will find this case? In this case, area of, let me change this area, A, B, C, D. Area of this portion means below the graph of force and time. So area of this portion ABCD, area of ABCD. What is area of ABCD? Suppose this is your F. So F multiplied by, what is the time interval? T2 minus T1. Area of this portion, this side F, time. So this is the area. So F into delta T. What is this? Impulse. This is the impulse. So my point is here, when a constant force X, then the area below the force time curve gives you the what? Impulse of the force. Now the next case, when a variable force acts on a body, when a variable force acts on a body, variable means the body either changes magnitude or direction, or both are changes, So now come to a variable force X on a body. Then in that case what we will do? The force is variable, means it changes with respect to time. So let me do that first. That this is the time axis and this is the force. Let the force is changing like this with respect to time. Clear? So the magnitude of the force changes. Variable force means either magnitude or direction or both changes. So now to calculate in this case, what we will consider? In this case, we will consider for a small time interval dt. So that I will choose that time interval where on an average the force is constant. Means let me consider a shaded portion like this. This is the dt, small time interval. And in this time interval, almost this is constant, this is the force is constant. Then area of this portion is what? This is f dt. So area of this portion, strip, area of the strip is equal to f into dt. What is that? F into dt. This is the impulse for this portion. Suppose I will calculate for the time interval from 0 to t. Then I will make such type of strips throughout this portion like that, so that I will choose where the force is almost constant. So every portion I will choose the strips like this, and add all the areas below this ft graph. Then I will get the the impulse. So I can say the area under the force time graph gives the magnitude of the impulse of the given force in the given time. Okay, so this is about the graphical method for the measurement of impulse. And now we go for the applications of this impulse, and this is very interesting, and always we are acquainted with these of examples. So when I go for the practical applications or applications of impulse in this part, let me to go for one or two examples, applications of this impulse. Now you see here, when I discuss about this impulse, the force x for a time delta t, the force x for a time delta t, that is your impulse j, magnitude part. I am not considering the direction. And what that gives you? The change in momentum pf minus pi. That is the general formula for the impulse. Okay. So f is equal to, I can say f is equal to impulse by delta t, or this f is equal to change in momentum by delta t. You can make f equal to j by delta t or pf minus pi by delta t. So now you see here, a force is applied for a small time interval delta t, and it changes the momentum. If the force applied, if the change in momentum I will keep constant, if the time variation is more, means to change this momentum I will take a long time, means this value is long, means this force will be small. Inversely, if the change in momentum takes place for a short time, in a short time the change in momentum takes place, the momentum changes in a short time. So this is a short time, means it is smaller, the force will be larger, right? So means if I consider, or if I say, if I take a long time to change the momentum, if I will take a long time to change the momentum, then the impact or the impulse or the action of the force or the force is what? For a small time means the force will be large. For a small time means the force will be large. Clear? Now, if I take a long time to change the momentum, then the force will be small. That is the case. By that, we will go for an example like here. When the cricket player, okay, when a player catches a ball, he lowers his hand while holding the cage. Why? The same logic. The logic is that as what happens here, the ball is coming with a momentum. When the ball hit by the batsman, by the bat, it has some momentum. When it or the player catch the ball, hold the ball, he will make what? The momentum 0. He has to make the momentum 0 because he has to stop the ball. That's then that will be called as a catch. Otherwise, it is a miscatch. If the player is not able to hold the ball, then it is miscatch. So, if he had to change the momentum, clear? To lower his hand means if he hold here and he hold here, what the difference? The ball is coming towards the player, he hold here or here, the time interval increases. So, the time increases means the impact or the force will be smaller. So, the force on his hands will be smaller. That is the example. So, while holding the cage, he lowers his hands. Similarly, automobiles are provided or the vehicles are provided with the spring systems. Shock absorbers are there. Why the shock absorbers are there in the automobiles or in the motorcycles? In the same case, when you are in a jump or when the vehicle is in a humps or it is moving on a uneven road. Uneven road means it gets a jerk. So, in that case what happens? It receives a jerk, the spring increases. The spring actually do what? The spring increases the time of the jerk, thereby reducing the force. If the time increases, the force reduces. Okay, students? So, these are two examples I have cited. You can go for more number of examples on this impulse. Means by increasing the time, the force should be reduced so that we will get less impact of the force. So, the same example on the same basis you can say that when you fall or when you jump to a cemented floor, we get more injuries than when you jump on a heap of sand. Okay, and that if you jump, then you will get less injury. Means the impact of force is less in that case in the heap of sand. In the cemented floor, it is more. Why? In the cemented floor, your interaction that the cemented floor has it is not takes so long time to change the momentum. Once you hit, it is very solid. So in a short time, the momentum changes. Short time momentum changes means the impact force is more, so we will get more injuries. Okay, so with this now we will go for the Newton's third law of motion. Okay, students, now come to the third law of Newton's or third law of motion, that is the Newton's third law. Already we have discussed first and second law. After knowing this impulse, now we will go for the Newton's third law of motion, and it is a law which is known to everybody. If you go for a layman who don't know about physics, he can also cite this or he can also state this law. What this law states? To every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So, to every action there is an equal means equal in magnitude. There is an equal and opposite means in direction. To every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. And action reaction are nothing but these are the two forces. Okay. When I hit with this hand, when I hit to this hand, then this hand also hit or if I apply the force action, then this will give the reaction to this end. That is the Newton's third law of motion. So, to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So, to understand this thing, let us consider there are two bodies, A and B are like this. And B exert a force on A, let this force FAB, force on A by B. Similarly, A also exert a force on B, let that FBA, force on B by A. Force exerted on B by A, FBA, force exerted on A by B. And the two bodies I have shown here in contact. They hit. Suppose they are moving and body A hit to body B. Okay. Then that happens. So according to this Newton's third law, what it says, that force FAB, they are of equal in magnitude. So I will show like this. They are of equal in magnitude. Opposite direction. So I can write FAB vector is equal to minus FBA vector. This is the Newton's third law. Right? So in the case like, now there is a question comes in your mind that if the force action and reaction are that, is that always in when the bodies are in contact it acts? No. When the bodies are not in contact, the force can be a contact force or non-contact force. In non-contact force also action reaction exists. Like in our electrostatics, as you know, there are two charges separated by a distance. If one charge gives a force to another, then that is the action. Because of that action, the second charge gives to the first one, that is the reaction. There is also non-contact forces. Okay, there are the gravitational force, also a non-contact force. So gravitational force means what? So this is your earth having mass m. So this is a ball or any object of mass small m. And obviously you know mass of earth is very, very larger than the mass of this body. As you know, the body is attracted towards earth, right? So if this is action, then the earth is also attracted by the body. You can also say, because action and reaction. So earth is attracted by the body. So this is the reaction. Then now you can ask you, if this is the action, if earth is attracted to this body, according to Newton's second law, what is the action force? F is equal to body is attracted, body mass, its acceleration of the body. And according to Newton's third law, to every action there is a reaction. So earth is also attracting the body. Same magnitude force, F. And that magnitude force is what? Body attracting earth. So earth mass of earth and acceleration of earth. But they are same means MAB is equal to MAE. So according to this, there is an attraction means MA of body is equal to M, because both are same magnitude, opposite direction. MAB equal to MAE. And as you know, M by small m is equal to body, acceleration of body by acceleration of earth. And as you know, the mass of earth is greater than, very, very greater than the mass of the body. M is very greater than M. So acceleration of the body is very, very greater than the acceleration of earth. That we are not able to observe. Means earth is also attracting or accelerating towards the body, but that acceleration we are not able to observe or detect because its mass is very, very large compared to the mass of the body. That is from the Newton's third law. Okay, so with that, again, while we are the applications, again another application we can show that while we are walking on the road, when we are walking on the road, so this is the road and you are applying the foot like this, you are applying the force like this. So you are applying the force to the ground. So this is your ground and this is your foot. So this is the force action. So the floor will do what? It will give the reaction. Same. So F, this will be R. So suppose this is the reaction R. So this R should be equal to minus F and magnitude is same, opposite direction. So R should be the reaction. Now because of this working, what happens? You match this like, you are not pushing the force perpendicular, you are giving some inclination, so there is an inclination. So suppose this angle is theta, then obviously this angle is theta. So because of this reaction by the ground, if I make this R as two components, that force which is equal to R cos theta along this direction and this is your R sin theta, two rectangular components if I take. R cos theta horizontally, R sin theta vertically. So I am standing vertically, this is my weight. This R sin theta provides me or balance my weight. So I did not fall while walking. r cos theta gives me what? A forward. If I apply the force in this direction, if I will apply the force like this, so I will go in this direction because r cos theta comes to this side. If I take this f is like this, so forward motion, backward motion can be understood like this, action and reaction. Similarly, while you are swimming, in the swimming we are giving the force to the water, action, the water gives the reaction, so that we are moving in the forward direction. So already you know this action and reaction. So from that, now we will go for this Newton's third law of motion. From here, a most important conclusion we got that we will never find a isolated force. If I apply a force here, this also gives a force to this my fingers. Clear? That means the forces are always in pairs. But most important thing, the pair forces are acts on two different bodies. I apply the force here, this one is applying the force to this end, but the force applied on this body and this force is applied on this body. So the two forces are not on the same body. That's why you will not make that the total resultant force on a body is 0. You cannot say, right? The simple example like here, this is the body 1A and this is the body suppose B. So suppose this is the force on A by B and this is the force on B by A. They are acts on two different bodies. They are acts on two different bodies. So you cannot say the net force on A is what? FAB. The net force on B is FBA. Because of the body, this is the net force. And the normal reaction, the part is different. But because of action reaction, this is the force on A. This is the force on B. But for the whole system A and B, what because of action reaction, what is the net force? That is 0. But for an isolated body, for this body, the net force is not 0 because they act on two different bodies. So that's why I am again repeatedly told that, I am telling again and again that you never cancel action and reaction because they act on two different bodies. Okay. And as I already told that action and reaction are of same magnitude and they are in opposite direction. And the action and reaction acts simultaneously. Once you apply the action, the reaction will not apply you after 2 days. The reaction will be on the same day at the same moment. So they are simultaneous. The action and reaction are simultaneous. And the Newton's third law can be applied when a body at rest or a body is in motion. Means if you are running, okay, a ball is on the floor or the ball is on the field and the ball, suppose the ball is moving with a velocity and if you go and kick the ball, so you are also in motion but your velocity increases and you hit the ball with an action. So you kick the ball with an action means the ball goes forward, at the same time you will come or your kick or your leg will come in backward. So that is the reaction. So they are applicable in when the body at rest or in the body is in a motion. Okay. So again another thing is that the action and reaction acts along the line joining the two bodies, along this same line joining the two bodies. So these are the notes, or you can say the conclusions, or you can say the consequences of Newton's third law of motion. Okay students, go through this video and try to understand the Newton's 3 laws and force, linear momentum and impulse. Thank you students.